I'd like to announce Governor Northam's Amendment 28 to House Bill 29, adopted at the Virginia Assembly 2020 reconvene/veto session, allowing boards to meet virtually during emergency declarations. The amendment provides that the public body may meet by electronic communication without a quorum of the public body or any member of a governing board physically assemble at one location where the governor has declared a state of emergency. And the declared emergency makes it impractical or unsafe for the public body to assemble in a single location. And the purpose of the meeting is to discuss or transact business statutorily required or necessary to continue operations of the public body. An emergency declaration was issued on March 17, 2020 under Governor Northam's Executive Order 53 due to coronavirus COVID-19. As a part of the order, temporary restrictions were placed on restaurants, non-essential business, and all public and private in-person gatherings of 10 or more individuals were prohibited. Boston Redevelopment Housing Authority Board of Commissioners, November 19, 2020 virtual meeting will be using Microsoft Teams to facilitate the meeting. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good evening.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Boston Redevelopment Housing Authority PRHA Board of Commissioner meetings are held on the third Thursday of each month at 5 p.m. All meetings are conducted at PRHA's main office, 3116 South Street, Portsmouth, Virginia, 23707. Unless otherwise noted, all members of the public are welcome to attend. All right. Order roll call, Madam Secretary.
All right. Commissioner Barham.
Here.
Commissioner Diggett.
Present.
Commissioner Prince.
Present.
Commissioner Robert.
Present.
Commissioner Wicks.
Here.
Vice Chair Lalonde.
Present.
And Chair Smith.
Present.
We do have a quorum.
All right. Commissioners, before you have the meetings from October 15, 2020 meeting, there isn't any unreadiness. Chairs need a motion to approve minutes.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes as submitted.
Second.
Motion and properly second. Thank you, Commissioners. Madam Secretary.
Commissioner Barham.
Yes.
Commissioner Diggett.
Yes.
Commissioner Prince.
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts.
Yes.
Commissioner Wicks.
Yes.
Vice Chair Lalonde. And Chair Smith.
Yes. Our next order of business is old business. Who we got handling that item, Mr. Bland?
Old business from the last board meeting, you asked about the resident advisory board, and they agreed that they want to wait until after the pandemic is over with before they start having any meetings. 'Cause I know that question was asked, so I'll put it down as an old business question.
Gotcha. All right, new business. The bond issuance presentation.
Before we do that,
Yes, ma'am.
excuse me, Chair. Mr. Bland, were you ready for the video
We can wait for that.
to after that? Okay.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Point of privilege. What is the video in reference to, please?
It's an award that we received.
Okay, very happy to hear about that. All right.
All right, we have a person on board issuance. Okay. On that issue now with the board issuing presentation, do we have those people present?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Delphine Carnes is on the line. She will start the presentation. She's representing PRHA in this matter.
Okay, great.
Good evening, commissioners and members of the staff of the Housing Authority and guests. I'm Delphine Carnes and I am your counsel in this matter. This is with regard to the issuance of bonds for the Mount Hermon Village Apartments, and you have in your packet a resolution with regard to these bonds. After tonight, if the resolution is approved, the process requires that the City Council also consider the approval of the issuance of these bonds. As you know, and as we've discussed in the past, housing authorities in the Commonwealth of Virginia have the authority to issue bonds to support projects. And in this case, you are a conduit or pass-through issuer. meaning that there is no liability whatsoever for the Housing Authority, its staff, or its commissioners for the issuance of these bonds and the repayment of the bonds. You are not responsible for the project. And as a matter of fact, the Housing Authority, because it is a pass-through, is not involved in the project itself. So really tonight, what is on the agenda and the resolution in your packet has to do with the approval of the bond financing itself. This is not an approval of the project. That's not something for the Housing Authority to consider. You do have information about the project, and we have representatives of the developer here who are available to ask questions. But again, this is not a project where the Housing Authority will have an ownership interest. This is not a project where you have tenants. You can receive information about the project, but we do not control the project. What we do is issue the bonds, and as we've talked about at a prior meeting, there is really no risk for the Housing Authority. However, there is some benefit. And one of those benefits is that the Housing Authority will receive a fee for its services as the issuer of these bonds. You will receive this fee at the closing of the bond issuance and then every year on the anniversary of the issuance. And that fee is unrestricted funds for the Housing Authority, meaning it doesn't have strings attached. As you know, most of your funds have strings attached because they come from HUD. And that would not be the case here. So this is really a benefit to the Housing Authority to receive revenue that is unrestricted. The borrower will also pay your legal fees. So I represent you, but the borrower will actually compensate me for my services. So there is no cost whatsoever to the Housing Authority in connection with the issuance of these bonds. And again, no liability. As a matter of information, the same holds true for City Council. The City of Portsmouth and the City Council members will also not be responsible for the project or for the repayment of the bonds. Major difference is they do not receive a fee. You do because you issue the bonds. I'm happy to respond to any questions you may have about the project from a legal standpoint in terms of the bond issuance. And if not, I'll turn it over to Mike Graff and developer if they would like to make any comments.
Okay, Commissioner Jacobs does have questions. I hope you saw my hand is raised.
Go ahead, Commissioner Jacobs.
Yes, I want to speak first. And again, good evening, Attorney Carnes, I think is how you pronounce it.
Yes, ma'am.
I will politely disagree with some of what you have said. When our Housing Authority votes yay or nay on this inducement resolution, that will result in a number of actions going forward. And from the moment we decide yay or nay, this is impactful on the elderly tenants of Mount Hermon Village. Now, I have some questions about this project that I want to have a comfort level with. Because full disclosure, I, among I'm sure some others on this commission, know people who live at Mount Hermon Village. It is what I consider a very nice senior citizen friendly complex, all on one level. And if I'm not mistaken, when this was discussed at the last meeting, I thought there was some discussion about the relocation process, how that would work. And I want someone to speak to that because, but for the grace of God, go any of us living there, we don't want to see a senior citizen being chased like musical chairs from one unit to the other as this project is put forth. So I have some specific questions. Now, who is able to answer the questions about the actual relocation process of these tenants? I personally do not want to see those tenants have to relocate off property before they can be reintroduced into a renovated unit. So who can speak to that, please?
Ms. Jiggets, my name is Mike Graff. I'm with McGuire Woods, and I'm bond counsel to the developer who's working on the project. And I'd like to introduce you to Carrie Fisher, who's on the line. And if it's okay with you, I'd like to ask her to first brief you on the nature of the improvements that are going to be made to Mount Herman Village, and then speak to you about how the tenants have been approached and advised of what is expected to happen. And most importantly, in response to your question, ask her to outline for you how the tenant relocation process will work during the rehabilitation of the apartments.
Thank you so much.
Good evening, Commissioner Jiggets and Mike. Thanks for the introduction. My name is Carrie Fisher. I'm with NHT Communities, and my colleague, who's also working on this project, JT Egelhart, is also on the line, and he'll also be able to answer questions. But to your point on relocation, just to give you a quick overview of what we're planning on the site. There will be significant in-unit updates to Mount Herman Village that would be highly disruptive to keeping tenants in their current units. So the relocation plan anticipates that we'll build up at least 4 vacancies, most likely 4 starting out, so that we can relocate the tenants of Mount Herman Village on site and complete the significant in-unit improvements. What's expected is a new condensing unit, air handler, hot water heaters, new kitchens, new bathrooms, upgraded lighting to LED, new flooring, windows and doors, and actually the addition of a dishwasher as well to the kitchen. And so the expectation is we would work with the tenants to either have them move to a completely renovated unit, or if their desire is there, to temporarily relocate on site and then move back into their renovated unit. So there's no off-site relocation expected, but because of the nature of the renovation plan and scope of work, folks will need to be out of their units for about a 3-week period. And JT, did you have anything to add to that?
Excuse me, point of privilege. I lost connection. I do apologize, but I will have to ask you to start from where I first was introduced to you. I do apologize for that. Thank you, if you don't mind.
Nope, not at all. I might go a little bit out of order this time, though.
If you could do a brief recap.
But what I was saying, Ms. Jiggets, is there will be significant in-unit improvements for the tenants at Mount Herman Village. And the nature of those improvements include new HVAC, new hot water heaters, new kitchens, including addition of a dishwasher, new bathrooms, upgraded LED lighting, new flooring, new windows, new doors. So it really does require folks move out of their units, but we expect to build up at the start of the renovation 4 vacant units. And over time, we hope to build that up to 8 so that we can minimize the time that the construction is, disrupting folks on site. And then tenants would either move on site 1 or 2 times, depending on their preferences. If they want to go back to their renovated unit, that's fine. But if they would prefer to just do 1 move, we would expect to be able to accommodate that as well. So moving folks into a renovated unit at completion.
Okay, if I can ask a question on when you said about the 4 units. At the moment, is Mount Hermon Village 100% leased?
Is not 100% leased currently, because we have been holding some vacant unit in anticipation of the renovation.
How many? How many units have you been holding in abeyance?
Last,
Privilege here. This
Go
is
ahead, Commissioner. Commissioner Prince.
This is about a bond hearing in regards to us issuing a bond, correct?
No, it's not. It's about more than just a bond
This is
hearing.
about a bond hearing.
No,
About a
this is
bond.
about more than just a bond hearing. This is about people's
Hold on,
lives.
Commissioner Jiggets, he got the floor.
I had
If
the
I'm
floor.
not mistaken, this is a bond hearing in regards to us issuing a bond to a client, correct?
Incorrect.
No, I'm asking others, Commissioner Jiggett.
Yeah, it's a bond issue.
Yes, it's a bond issue, sir. Yes, it is.
Yes. The issues that are on question now are beyond our purview. We're issuers. We're not managers of the property. We're simply issuers. So I just
Yes,
want to
sir.
keep us on track with that. And Ms. Jiggett, you can have the floor after that.
Thank you so much. Point of privilege, you're incorrect, Commissioner Prince. This is more than just about an inducement resolution. This is about people's lives. And if I may continue with my line of questioning, as I was saying to the lady who, I'm sorry, give me your name again, please.
My name is Carrie Fisher, Ms. Jiggets.
Ms. Fisher, again, with my question, how many units as of now are you all holding in abeyance to be used to move the elderly tenants from their existing unit to one of those units as you all proceed with the renovations?
That's beyond our reach.
Don't worry about that. I'm asking her for the answer to the question.
To my knowledge, we have, I believe it's 4 units open right now, but I do not have the current rent roll at my fingertips.
Excuse me.
And my other
Excuse
question
me. Hold on,
is,
Commissioner Jiggets.
oh,
We have a resolution here. And this
and
resolution.
you're going to proceed
No,
with the
no, stop.
resolution,
Hold,
I'm
hold,
allowed
stop.
to ask questions.
Stop. Please stop for a second. The resolution says this. Resolution 2044. Endowment resolution approving the issuance of multifamily revenue bonds for the acquisition, construction, and renovation and rehabilitation and equipping of the approximate 90 units of Mount Hermon Village apartments located in the city of Portsmouth, Virginia. Bond issuance, and that's it. If you do want to ask a question to that person, you can ask those questions to that person offline.
That's not correct, Chairman.
That is correct, and we're going to take care of this issue right here.
No, where is
You
our
can have
attorney?
your opinion, feel how you want to feel. We're going to keep
Where
moving
is
forward.
our
I'm being
attorney?
serious right now.
That attorney
Commissioner
is not
Jiggets, this
resident.
is a bond hearing question, period.
It is a bond hearing question. Where's
Period.
Attorney James?
She's right there. We got another attorney right there representing us right there. She just
I want Attorney James to speak to this because I'm allowed to ask questions as we put on the floor the inducement resolution.
your questions don't have. It's two different things.
Chairman Smith, with all due respect, they link up together.
The
Now,
merit is on the bond. The merit is on the bond.
Excuse me, Commissioner Prince, you made your point known. I am concerned twofold. We are just not talking about the fee structure that we will get. We address the tenants issue. Now, if I can just get my next question answered, and it's not out of order, Attorney James, can you speak to this?
I'm sorry, what am I speaking? What is your question?
My question, Attorney James, my next question for Ms. Fisher would have been, as a result of this renovation, will the tenants' rents be increased? That's the question that I want to answer to before we move into the inducement resolution, because these are questions that are going to come up in front of City Council, I believe, because these are citizens in our city of Portsmouth, and these are elderly citizens. And we want to do all that we can do as a housing authority in due diligence and just not move this along because we want the fee income.
We don't own that property, Commissioner Jiggets.
I know we don't own the property, Commissioner Prince, I know that very well. But that does not mean we should not be considerate of the process that we're going to start that's going to be impactful on those elderly citizens.
This is a
Commissioner, this is Attorney James. In response to your question, the only information that I've been provided is the bond issuance resolution. We're not involved in the actual details of this property and the renovations or what have you, so I can't answer your question. Perhaps, Mrs.
Fisher can
As
answer.
the chair said, we could, discuss this offline. If you could give me some questions, I could follow up with them and get back with you.
They put my question on the floor. They are here. If they can answer about the increases, if there will be increases for the rent for these senior citizens after this renovation. That is my question.
There will not be rent increases.
Thank you so much. We saved a lot of time if I had been allowed to ask my question. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Any other comments, Commissioner?
This is
Okay.
Commissioner Barrow.
Go ahead, Commissioner Barham. You got the floor, sir.
I'd just like to make a comment that I'm looking forward to seeing these improvements being made and ultimately improving the quality of life for the citizens of our city that are living in these properties.
Thank you, sir.
Me too, Commissioner Barron. I too.
I have
Commissioner,
another comment, please. This is Rita Roberts.
Go ahead, Commissioner Roberts.
One thing that I was happy to hear was that you were saying this was going to take about 3 weeks for these renovations to occur to a particular apartment. So that gives the residents a couple of alternatives as far as how they, adjust with their particular, their things, their furniture and those types of things, so that they can perhaps, if they have family who can do this, or if they have some place where they can go for 3 weeks, if they're not staying in the unit and there isn't a unit available, then there's something that can be done to sort of ameliorate the problem of being dislocated.
Mm-hmm. And just to speak to that point on the relocation, we will be working with a third-party relocation consultant as well as the property management to facilitate those tenant moves on site during the renovation. And that's built into our budget. We very much want to make this as painless as possible for the tenants. And, especially with everything going on right now, most especially keep them healthy and safe.
Thank you.
I have one more question.
Hold on one second, Ms. Jiggets, Commissioner Jiggets, Commissioner London.
Yeah, I just want to personally congratulate Mr. Bland and the staff for bringing this bond issue for us, because one, it is a revenue maker for us, so that's ultimately why we're doing it. Secondly, the history of PRHA and doing this kind of stuff, both the where Walmart's at and Kroger was also funded with bond revenue dollars from Portsmouth Redevelopment Housing Authority. So this is a very smart thing for us to do. It just so happens this one's a housing development, but we've been involved in other developments as Attorney Carnes talked about. This is a smart way for us to go. It's no risk to us. It's a way for the Portsmouth redevelopment, which is part of our name, is to help the city. That's why this thing needs to go to City Council to help them renovate this town. So if I remember from Walmart, I know right now we got the readout on. We made hundreds of thousands of dollars off those bond issues, and that's unrestricted money, as Lawyer Carnes said. So I really appreciate the work that Philip, that you and Ed did to bring this bond to the table for us to vote on.
Any other commissioners?
Yes. I had indicated I needed to ask another question. Commissioner Jiggets.
Yeah.
Yes. and this is back to Ms. Fisher. When we talk about moving them, I thought I read that as part of moving them, we will actually physically pack them up, move them to a vacant unit, physically unpack them, and then when it's time to physically move them back to their unit, this particular company that you all are hiring will also make sure you clean the unit before those residents have to move back in. And when they move back in, everything would have already been set up. Is that correct? Am I interpreting that correctly?
Carrie, I can speak to that.
Yeah, JT, you want to take that?
Sure. I work with Carrie at NHC Communities, and I'm working with this relocation firm at another development right now. The interaction with the relationship with the resident will be, if the resident wants that, they can have everything unpacked, and it's their choice. Some residents don't want that; they want to do the packing themselves. For our purposes, we're going to sit down and have an interview with each resident and decide whether we're going to do a one-move situation, which would be from their current unit into a newly renovated unit, or a two-move situation where they go from their current unit into a unit while their unit's being renovated and then move back. One of the most important things during this time is that the movers go in, get all the stuff out, and then move the stuff in. There's no interaction, and all the windows are open. There's going to be ventilation, and there's going to be no interaction indoors between the residents and the movers.
Thank you for that. And I'm going to assume with that, this is what you will be offering to each resident. So they will not feel that this is something that they have to pay extra for, no. But you all will be upfront and say to them directly, yes, we will pack you, set you up in your temporary unit, pack you, set you up in your relocated unit at you all's cost. Am I correct?
You're correct.
Thank you so much for that clarification.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Prince.
Go ahead, Commissioner Prince.
This will be my last on this particular item, but we need to remember to stay focused on what we're here for, and not go beyond the purview of what we're here for, and stay on topic. That's basically my point. Thank you.
And that, with point of privilege, I will respond. You are absolutely incorrect.
That's just your opinion, Commissioner Jacobs. That's your opinion.
This is about
right.
citizens enforcement. This is about the elderly. This is about a project that will be started because of our vote on this inducement resolution. And may we never forget who we are representing, because we have to do our due diligence. And in that way, when this goes to city council, they will also have a comfort level with this based on their questions. So let's make no mistake, this is not just about dollars and cents. This is about the elderly, and this is about people's lives being temporarily disrupted. And as much information as we can garner from this, this will help us to make our vote in a conscientious manner.
This is a bond vote. Thank you, Ms. Jacobs.
And again, with this bond vote, this will help us to make a conscientious decision, a conscientious, responsible decision beyond dollars and cents.
Okay, thank you. Any more comments? Anything else? There being none, thank you folks so much for doing what you do.
Do they want to stand on for the resolution?
They can stand for the resolution. Chairs, in need of a motion.
I make a motion that we approve Resolution 2020-44, inducement resolution, approving the issuance of multifamily housing revenue bonds for the acquisition, construction, renovation, rehabilitation, and equipping of the approximately 90-unit Mount Hermon Village apartments located in the city of Portsmouth, Virginia.
I second.
Motion properly second, Madam Secretary.
All right, Commissioner Barham,
Yes.
Commissioner Jiggets,
Yes.
Commissioner Prince,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Wicks,
Yes.
Vice Chair Lalonde,
Yes.
and Chair Smith.
Yes. All right, our next item we have is.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry. This
Yes.
is Mike Graff, the bond
Go ahead.
lawyer.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to note for the record that, you know, in compliance with required law, we noticed a public hearing on this matter for this evening, and it doesn't appear that anybody from the public appeared at your offices or has appeared electronically, but just wanted to confirm that for the record. And then thank you all very much for your consideration this evening.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you. All right,
Thank
next
you.
resolution.
Yeah.
Anything else for this session, or do we skip to?
We can go to, you got two that go into
Okay,
closed
so we're going to
session.
resolution, the next resolution, resolution. will be
Mr. Page, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair or Mr. Page, are we dismissed? The
Yes,
vote-
ma'am, you are dismissed. Thank you so much. I'm sorry.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank you,
all.
Mike.
Thank you,
Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Fisher.
you.
Thank you, JT.
Thank you. Thank you all for appearing.
All righty. All right, the next resolution we have, because the next two are in closed session. Resolution 2020-47, the resolution authorizing the filing of an application with the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development HUD Special Application Center, SAC, for the demolition and disposition of Swanson homes. VA 001-000002. Is that you, Mr. Page?
Yes, commissioners, thank you. Resolution 2020-47 is a resolution you've seen in large part before. It's asking for permission again to submit a disposition and demolition application for Swanson Homes. This was already approved by this board in September of 2020. The only difference in this resolution, or the main difference in this resolution, is wording related to the fifth whereas. I would just like to point attention to the fact that it mentions that the city of Portsmouth sent us a support letter, and we wanted to incorporate that into the resolution before we send that into HUD. So we made that change. But this board has already approved this, and it's nothing different from what we asked you at the September meeting. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Okay, there being no questions. All right, chair is in need of a motion for resolution 2020-47.
I so move.
Second.
It's moved and properly second. Madam Secretary?
Commissioner Barham,
Yes.
Commissioner Jiggets,
Point of privilege, you skipped to resolution 2020-47, is that correct?
Right.
Yeah, because 45 and 46 in closed session.
And I think you said you're adding something from the city of Portsmouth in support, is that correct? To 2020-47, is that correct?
But there's only additional language in the resolution. There's nothing added to the meeting or the agenda.
So a letter was received from the city support.
That's what I thought I heard him say. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, Rita.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm ready.
okay, Commissioner Jiggets,
Yes.
Commissioner Prince,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Wicks,
Yes.
Vice Chair Lalonde,
Yes.
and Chair Smith.
Yes. Commissioners, before you have resolution 2020-48, resolution authorizing the execution of a contract for case management and reporting software between Portsmouth Redevelopment Housing Authority and Designing Success, Inc.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm
Somebody
doing
got a phone.
fine.
Great.
Greeting you from Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Oh,
Um,
hope the weather.
but I'm here because we have before you a resolution for case jobs plus case management and reporting software. As part of our Jobs Plus grant that we received from HUD, we had to upgrade our software to specific software to serve that program. So looking at a couple of software providers that said that they would that they could do the reporting for Jobs Plus tracking at a glance. A software from Design and Success is the preferred software. It is the one that most Job Plus grantees nationwide use because it was specifically designed to collect the necessary information from our Jobs Plus participants so that we can report to HUD. This grant has quite a large amount of reporting. We have to do quarterly and annual reports to HUD on the Jobs Plus grant, but I guess they figure they give us $2.3 million. They want to know what we're doing with it. We chose Tracking at a Glance also because it integrates with our Emphasis Elite software, which is the software that we use throughout the agency for all of our programs. Design and Success was procured through the General Service Administration for the federal government. So this will be a cooperative procurement opportunity. They are on GSA Schedule 70, which is for IT and communications with the federal government. As a housing authority, we're not usually allowed to purchase from federal schedules, but this is one exception. So that makes it much easier for us to go ahead and move forward with the purchase of this software. We intend to we're planning and getting ready to implement our program beginning January, February of next year. And we have to have our software in place so we can get staff trained on it. The cost of the software for the 4 years of the Job Plus grant is $128,641. That includes 3 years of recurring costs and additional training. The final cost came in a little bit 23% above our independent cost estimate. That cost estimate was prepared by our grant writer last year, and it was a little low, but it is definitely software that is well worth it. We had a meeting with our grant manager earlier this morning, and she said she's glad we had budgeted for the investment in this software because this is an essential part of our Jobs Plus grant. They currently provide the same software to Roanoke Housing Authority, a previous Jobs Plus recipient, the City of Phoenix, City of Tampa Housing Authority, and San Antonio Housing Authority, to name a few. The references came back very, very good from all of them. We always ask them to rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. Most of them came back 10. Someone even had a 10 plus. So I was like, okay. And so based on this selection criteria, the references, we recommend that the authority enter into a contract with Design and Success, Inc. for Jobs Plus case management and reporting software.
I will move to make that motion.
Before you make that motion, any other commissioners have any comments? Questions? You have the floor, Commissioner Jiggets.
Yes, I move to approve Resolution 2020-48 concerning the software equipment.
Second.
The motion properly second, Madam Secretary.
Commissioner Barham,
Yes.
Commissioner Jiggets,
Yes.
Commissioner Prince,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Wicks,
Yes.
Vice Chair Lalonde,
Yes.
and Chair Smith.
Yes.
Thank you.
All righty. Item of business, we have reports, October significant activity reports, Mr. Bland.
Commissioners, in your board package was the October significant activity report. If you have any questions after you get a chance to go through it thoroughly, please reach out to me and I can respond to them unless you have a question at this time.
Really, I just had one. I saw that you had a meeting with Cox on broadband funding. Did that go anywhere?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
I can answer that. They were, Cox was interested in us applying for the governor's CARES Act broadband initiative with them to help extend broadband service throughout our broadband services and connectivity to our properties. But we were pleased to find out that the city of Portsmouth had already applied.
Good.
Through for that grant through the Governor Northern's CARES Act broadband extension, and they've included that our properties in part of their grant.
Excellent. Congratulations. Great job. Thank you.
That's great.
All righty, Mr. Bland, you still got the floor.
Commissioner, this time want to play a video and then I have Delores to kind of, if you have any question after the video, you can kind of explain it. Elisa?
Hand up.
You said who had hand up?
Marion.
Hand up. Is that from old?
Hello, my name is Patricia Wells, NARO's Senior Vice President, and I'm here proudly to present a 2020 Awards in Excellence in Resident and Client Services category to the Portsmouth Redevelopment and Housing Authority for the Olori Academy. The Academy provided elementary age youth in their communities the opportunity to learn about the similarities and differences between youth from different cultures. Congratulations, Portsmouth, on your achievement, and thank you for taking care of our young ones.
Yay.
Great work. Awesome. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Go ahead, Mr. Bland.
Commissioners, have any questions in reference to that short video?
I just think it's excellent, excellent.
Okay,
Kudos.
thank you.
Commissioner Roberts, go ahead. You want to say something?
No, it's okay.
All the-
It's great. It's really exciting to, we always win another award. It's always, a wonderful thing to hear. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes, it
And,
is.
and let me just say, in all my years working for various housing authorities, this housing authority has been receiving more awards than any housing authority I've been associated with. And a lot of it is due to the staff, the hard work of the staff. Delores, you want to tell anything in reference to this award?
Sure. This was one of our programs for our youth. Our youth coordinator, Brittany Thompson. I always said that department is full of millennials and they have all kinds of energy and ideas. They're very creative. Right. And she wanted to do a program to introduce our youth to other cultures around the world. And that's what the Olori, she named. Olori is a Swahili word. I can't remember right off what it means, but that's why she named the program. She named it that program to get the kids, the youth, excited about it. And when we're doing getting narrow awards, a lot of housing authorities across the country receive the awards of merit. However, the awards of excellence are voted on by a committee, and they only issue a few of those each year. So we're really excited about that. And we have several initiatives that we're working on now for our youth, as well as the adults and seniors, all of our residents. And it's been interesting and a challenge trying to get them, do them during this time. But there's a lot of passion and love there. So the staff does great work.
Awesome.
That's wonderful. Kudos. That's wonderful.
Great work. Great work.
The only other thing is the staff on the low income side and the Section 8 will continue to make sure that our clients are taken care of. We're responding to turning over vacant units, as well as making sure we keeping up with our annual recertifications and checking on any needs with our seniors and make sure they're being safe. We will be closed, Thanksgiving Day and the after the 26th and 27th for, next Thursday and Friday. The agency will be closed for Thanksgiving. And I would like to wish all of you, happy Thanksgiving, and be safe.
Same to you.
You as well, sir.
All righty,
That's all I have.
commissioners,
I have
thank
a
you, Mr.
question.
Bland. Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner, this is Commissioner Wicks. Can anyone tell me when phase 1 of Lexington will be complete or when they will start moving residents in?
Elisa, you want to go ahead and answer that?
We expect to start moving residents in the first week of December. So
Okay.
shortly, we'll move the first group in. The project won't be completed in itself until March, but we'll start moving families in December.
Okay, thank you.
That's
You're
awesome.
welcome.
Chairman Smith, this is Commissioner Barham.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. You got the floor, sir.
Yes, is this the appropriate time to ask a question about the financial report that was sent in advance of this meeting?
Yes, sir.
Great, thank you. I was just scrolling through it and looking through some of the details and was hoping that someone could give just a brief description of the myths on the operations from budget for the two properties at Dale.
Shannon.
Yeah, she's on.
You were cutting out, so I didn't quite hear what you were asking about.
Yeah, I was just asking about the property expenses, the operating expenses at the two Dale properties.
Okay.
Just being a little bit over budget. You know, just looking for a brief description there. It's kind of.
Dale 1 and Dale 2. Yeah.
I think the explanation spoke to that.
Yeah, I mean, no, those are under budget.
Right.
Yep. So like Dale 1 was budgeted, the operating expense was budgeted at $946,000 for the 9 months of operation. And it only came in at $804 for the year.
Right.
Yep.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yeah. So, so they expected to lose a lot more money, but they didn't.
Right.
Right. It cares. I have a question since Commissioner Barham raised the issue about the finances. When will we be expecting the audited financial statements? Can you refresh my memory on that, please?
Yep. Usually, the audited is generally submitted in March. And because of the CARES and the COVID, they gave us an extension until September, which we really needed to take because if you remember this year, we have new auditors.
Right.
So everything was submitted on time, but we are having some issues with, we got a HUD rejection that the auditors are kind of fighting it out with the HUD analyst. She's kind of like asking for some stuff from clear back in 2012 to 2015. She feels that some stuff is missing on the public housing side, but HUD has approved these audits every year since, so we're kind of miffed as to why she's digging back that far or what's going on. So the auditors are working. We've been on the phone with the regional HUD. I've been on the phone with the HUD analyst, and because this one will not be.
Excuse me.
It is kind of like a blessing. She did say, sorry.
Okay, you cut out. What were you saying?
Go ahead.
You froze up for a moment, Shannon. You froze for a moment.
Oh, I know. It's for some reason it is. So I'm sorry.
Okay. I think you need to take me back to where you said HUD kicked out something.
Yeah, HUD rejected. The analyst is asking for some numbers on land from clear back in 2012 to 15.
Get out my video.
They want to know why the land property value is missing on the public housing side for like the seaboard sites.
Okay.
But HUD has approved these audits every year since then. So we've been on the phone with our regional HUD people, the financial analysts from up in DC, and they just basically want the auditors to kind of like work through it. And hopefully we can prove why they shouldn't be over there. So
Why what shouldn't be over there?
Why the land value is not over on the public housing side of these couple aims that she's asking about.
Yeah.
So basically, we were told to let the auditors handle it with the HUD analyst, and they've got a lot of prior period adjustments because of that HUD quad audit. I don't know if you recall us having that HUD quad audit for the Section 8 side that I had to go back and analyze back to 2015 on that side to get all the reserve balances and everything straight. So the audit hopefully we'll hear something from the auditor soon as to what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't
know. So
okay, I need more clarification, because if it's the Seaboard Square land, don't we have the value of the land, or can't we work with the city of Portsmouth to get it for the audit?
No, it's not that. It's not that cut and dry. When whatever the value of that land was at the time, there was a release of a deed of trust with HUD. So technically that stuff should have all been cleared off back then. And they're just not sure why she is wanting to go back and dig that far, especially with them authorizing these every year since then. So she's just very nitpicky, but on the other hand, we really, really want to make sure we have all the correct numbers going forward. And she's really trying to work with us on it, but wants us to provide the proof, and the auditors are working on that.
Okay, and just work with me on this. She wants us, HUD auditors wants us to provide the proof of the value of the land at the time of the acquisition. Is that correct? Is that what you're saying?
No. She's wanting to know why a land value is missing on the public housing side.
Okay.
But so Seaboard was a prior, like say it was Jeffrey Wilson.
Yes, it was.
Right. When that project was all demolished and moved on to Seaboard, there's like declarations of trust, and there's these, the way HUD does stuff is a little different than normal. And she's wanting to know to make sure that the value of the land isn't over on the property side with the investor, because it's not technically a part of that. It should be over here. But it was all worked through, and we just have to prove where did that value go, or why are we not showing it over there? And there's reasons why.
What are the reasons?
The auditors are trying to track that all down.
You don't know the answer to that?
I'm told it's because of a declaration of trust, but we have consultants that are working on it.
It's a declaration of trust. Who holds the trust?
That I don't know at this time. Because that part of it is usually on the housing side. I don't really understand that side of it yet.
On the housing side of the authority of this authority of PRHA? Is that what you're saying?
It's a HUD document that maybe somebody else that's more experienced would know what they mean by the declaration of trust, but it was released by HUD when this was all done.
It's a deed of trust that was released when the old project went down, the new one was built. And Shannon just said, back when all this was done, the previous HUD folks approved all of the audits for that particular year, 15, 16, 17. We have a new auditor for some reason, assuming what was approved by the HUD auditor when the old one was in that site, she doesn't agree with. So that's the reason why we have our present auditor working with the present HUD folks to say, hey, look, this was approved by the previous one. You guys approved all of those audits from 15, 16, 17. Why is there an issue now when HUD really approved those audits back then?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, and if I can respond to that, when it comes to audited statements, many times subsequent auditors will catch things that were an oversight by previous auditors. So rather than keep going back on what HUD approved before, let's work through this thing and get them the information they need. Because I'm sort of getting the sense that being told something we're not being told about this. And this is the time to tell us what it is about this deed of trust that was on the property that is now Seaboard Square, because it should be just a pathway of just whatever the deed of trust value was referencing. But I'm getting a sense that something else is missing from this disclosure to the commissioners.
Respectfully, can we let them work through the details of this and not do this here? I'm just
respectfully,
asking because they're working through it, and they've already said that they don't have those answers.
Respectfully, Commissioner Prince, and I'm gonna try to say this in the most succinct
Just
manner.
say it. You've already worked through this, and they're trying.
No, I always get the sense you want to move us along.
I actually do.
And I'm trying to get to the crux of this for the commissioners. We are not here to be anything other than aware of our fiduciary responsibility.
And Ms. Sterling has answered to the best of her ability at this time.
That's for you. Commissioner Prince, allow Commissioner Jiggets.
And our director has said they're looking into it further.
Commissioner Prince,
Commissioners.
We beat this horse down.
Commissioner Prince. Commissioner Jiggets.
I'm done.
Yes, you need to be done on this because this is important. We are talking about our audited statements. We are talking about an area that if I had not asked the question, we wouldn't be having the discussion. Now, the financials were on the agenda. And I will repeat again, we're all on the same side. So anytime we can answer questions and garner responses to questions about our audited statements and what has occurred, that is a fiduciary responsibility for each of us as commissioners. We are not here to move stuff along. We are not here to brush stuff under the rug. We are here to have full disclosure. And as we've always strived to be ethical.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other commissioners?
Yeah,
Commissioner Londigan?
Yeah, a couple items. I just wanted to say thank you very much for passing the handbook for commissioners. I thought that was great. If you have an opportunity to go through it, I would encourage you to. It's a lot of great refresher of stuff that we've gotten from the seminars we've gone to and things that tell us what our responsibilities are as commissioners. So that was very good. Secondly, the Personnel Committee, I admire the work you've got in front of you. You've got that 272-page policy document. I've read all of it. Not that I understand all of it. I'm hoping that the discussion will be as robust in a couple areas that we've got, because in addition to the fiduciary responsibilities, the other responsibility we have, of course, is for the personnel policy of the organization. But Mr. Bland, whoever y'all brought, that consultant you brought aboard to change that personnel policy, you can really tell that they did some fantastic work on that personnel manual. The last one, if you haven't had a chance to go by the playgrounds at Dale Homes and Swanson, you're really missing two great things. Again, a great partnership that Mr. Bland did with the past police chief, with the past city manager to get two playgrounds put at Dale Homes and Swanson. There's kids crawling all over them every time I go there, and a lot of parents with their children there. It's been such a long time that we've had those housing units. It's hard to believe that we never had playgrounds there. So thank you very much to the staff for putting those playgrounds there.
Amen. And I do have a question as a result of Vice Chair Lalande's comments, which are great. Once Swanson Home is demolished, will that playground equipment be moved to Dale or someplace? I would like to know.
When Swanson,
it can be moved to another site.
Will that be the intention, or will it be demolished?
That would be the intention.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I have a quick question, Commissioner Prince.
Commissioner Prince.
The certificate of votes, is this a new document or just being introduced and updated. As a new member, I've not seen this before.
Which item is that on, sir?
It's the certificate of votes in regards to.
That's to the inducement resolution.
Because of the bond issuance.
Yeah,
That's very different. So we had different documentation.
That's why it's different.
yeah,
Certification. Yeah.
Right.
yeah. But I'm glad he brought that up. Who is the secretary that's going to sign it?
Mr. Blaine.
The executive director.
Thank you.
No problem. Any other commissioners, any comments, anything else? All right, chair comments. I appreciate all you do. I hope you all are staying safe, keeping your hands washed, keeping your distance, keeping your mask on. November 25th is a very important day. I'm going to give you all my cash app right now. It's the day before Thanksgiving. It's my birthday. I'm really going to text every last one of y'all my cash app. I'm going to cash app everybody.
Okay.
I mean it.
Excuse me, point of privilege. I was not in the meeting for a moment, and now I'm back in. Chairman Smith, if you can just take it back a second.
To the cash app?
Before the cash app.
Basically,
Cash app.
Commissioner Jiggers, I was just saying, on chair comments, I just say I thank everybody for what they do. Stay safe, keep your mask on, keep your hands clean, make sure you keep your distance with people.
Cash
and then I said on November 25th, it's the day before Thanksgiving, which is my birthday. So I said everybody can cash at me. I'm gonna be cash app requesting everybody on my birthday.
Yeah, I do want to know, because we're sort of with this agenda. I have a question about the homeless. Should I ask that now or when we come out of closed session? Hello, Chairman.
You can ask now.
Go ahead.
Okay, Executive Director Bland, can you speak to the homeless population here in City of Portsmouth and what the Housing Authority is involved in terms of helping to house our homeless?
The Housing Authority is a part of the continuum of care, which is a total of 22 separate organizations within the region.
Wow.
You got the Portsmouth Christian Outreach Ministry, you got the Portsmouth Department of Social Service, got Portsmouth Police Department, Portsmouth Probation, Portsmouth Sheriff Department, Portsmouth Volunteer for the Homeless, Shining Like Homes, Stop Incorporated, the Planning Council, Virginia Beach Community Development Corporation, Virginia Supported Housing, Portsmouth Behavioral Health Care. So the Portsmouth Redevelopment Housing Authority is a part of the continuum. The lead on this actually is the, so you have the continuum of care that really does the homeless, and Portsmouth is just one of those entities as a part of that.
Okay, I thank you for the information. I know we're quite involved with the feeding, but my concern is about the housing, because my understanding is that that's taken on an even greater challenge. Is there any possibility of the homeless being housed anywhere in our available units?
Well, as you know, at this time, the Portsmouth Housing Authority, all the wait lists are closed. People had to be on our wait list, and when the name come up to the top, when we have a vacancy either in the units that we own or in our Section 8 program, that's when we reach out to the person who's on our list.
So the homeless will have to get on your list. Is that what you're saying?
Whenever the list is open, yes.
And other than that, we don't have any other opportunities to help house the homeless. Is that correct?
Not at this time, no.
Thank you.
Commissioner, Vice Chair.
Yeah, I just wanted to speak to that because homeless has been a big issue here for the last 5 years. To end homelessness, particularly in my area, was veterans. I was vice chairman of that continuum of care for a year.
Okay.
We were very careful to make sure that all 23 activities were working together to solve the homeless issue. 2 years ago, the city was certified as 100%. That 100% of veterans there was no chronic homelessness for veterans. Every February we do an audit. a face-to-face audit. We touch every homeless person in the city of Portsmouth. We go to all the places that homeless people hang out. But we're very careful that no one agency is out there trying to do their own thing, because we have 23 of them who receive HUD funding. All of them receive HUD funding. So any one has to be very careful what to do, whether it's feeding or homelessness or services that are available to the homeless. So we've always appreciated the availability of PRHA. We've always recognized that what's unusual with PRHA is a lot of the folks have to pay rent. There's very few, I don't think there's any occasions at all where they pay no rent. But that's why we have all these other agencies, as Ed read out, that help support those homeless. So homelessness is not fixed. It is not solved. We know that. But the city has put that onus on this continuum of care. And I would encourage you, Ms. Jiggets, if you get a chance to attend one of their meetings. It is a very robust meetings with a lot of people who attend. Once a year, we have an annual retreat that also addresses the issue for homelessness. And in Portsmouth Redevelopment Housing Authority, what we look for them to do right now is to bring to the table what the expertise they can for services, and also to bring to the table their expertise and knowledge that they can help us with the homeless. So it's a great thing that we need to do, is help those who can't help themselves.
Yes, and I appreciate that. And I actually had a telephone conversation with is it the Portsmouth Homeless on County Street? What is the name of that?
PVH.
What is it?
PVH, Portsmouth Volunteers.
It's volunteers for the homeless, yeah.
Yeah, and at that time they were at full capacity. They were unable to take any additional residents, and in Portsmouth we don't have the benefit of the union mission, and we don't have the benefit of the other organization.
Actually, Portsmouth has the benefit of 270 churches, half of which give above and beyond what Portsmouth, in my opinion, out of 30 years in the psychiatric department, has to do is get in control of the homeless that come from abroad, meaning Hampton, Newport News, Virginia Beach, and Norfolk, that gets literally dropped off on the doorstep of 505, 508, whatever our old building was for psych, because we have walk-in services unlike others, and we acquire homelessness through that. And that's just my humble opinion out of 30 years of the service. But we have we have more than others that give to the homeless population, and that's why we have the amount of homeless that we do now. And again, this is my humble opinion.
But the thank you for the information. The churches not only give, they also house the homeless, because my church is one. Each year we do 2 weeks where we volunteer as members of the church, and the churches take turns during the winter months housing them, so they have somewhere to go. So
more than any other city in this area.
Okay, and let me speak to that. And I know that that's how it was done in the past, but my understanding has been with this pandemic that is probably going to change in terms of the part that the church faith-based community has been so involved in. And that's another reason why I wanted to bring it up. And the other organization in Norfolk was the Salvation Army, in addition to the Union Mission. And certainly I'm very much aware how much the faith-based community has done in Portsmouth in the past for housing. But obviously with this pandemic, my understanding is that even the church faith-based community has had to rethink this. And that's why I wanted to get some additional information on how we are approaching the homeless, housing of the homeless. The feeding part, no question, is covered, I believe. But it's the housing of them during these winter months that is a concern for many. So thank you all for your input.
But I would again encourage you again to attend a meeting of the Continuum of Care and just listen to what all the other agencies are doing, because it is Zooming or are they meeting? I'm sorry, it is a partnership among those 23 agencies who represent a lot of good people who are trying to do a lot of good work.
Are they Zooming or are they meeting in person, Bruce?
They're Zooming.
Okay, well, sure. If you share that information with me, I certainly will try to Zoom for them for a meeting.
Okay, thank you, commissioners. Public speakers. Chair allows up to 5 minutes to speak. We got any public speakers on the line? Got anybody on the main line? Going once, going twice, gone. All right. That resolution 2020-49, resolution of intent to meeting, closed meeting. Whereas the Virginia Freedom Act provides that the Board of Commissioners can meet in a closed meeting for discussion or consideration of disposition of publicly held real property, where discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiation strategy of the public body as set forth in section 2.3711A3 of the Code of Virginia as amended. The matters for discussion in the disposition of properties located at 1532 Crawford Parkway and 283 West Avenue. And therefore be it resolved that in compliance with the Virginia Freedom Act, above referenced section of the Virginia Code, the Board of Commissioners shall reconvene in a closed meeting on November 19th, 2020 for consultation regarding a legal matter pursuant to section 2.2-3711A7. Chairs need a motion to go into closed session.
Motion to go into closed session.
Second.
Motion properly second. Madam Secretary.
Commissioner Barham,
Yeah.
Commissioner Jiggets,
Yes.
Commissioner Prince,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Wicks,
Yes.
Vice Chair Lalonde,
Yes.
and Chair Smith.
Yes. We all know the process. Sign up.